What's up, everybody? Emperor John Kill 3D Gaming here, and today I got a little something that I want to show off. It's very special because we all had one of these at some point, and when I saw it, I couldn't pass it up and I had to get it back. That is the old bad boy, the PSP. It's in good condition, like excellent condition. It's the 3000 model, the skinnier one, not the fat, durable one, but you know, it's the one where you can just pop the lid open without pressing the button for the lid to pop. But none of the buttons feel sticky. The screen is, bright as it can be. The volume, pretty good. And thank goodness I still have a pair of old audio jack headphones to use. There's a store about a block or two from here called Bonfire Games, which is a classic video game store. Like, the mom and pop shops. And I go there to get my PS2 games, Xbox games, DS games, Game Boy Advance games, now PSP games. I mean, they're starting to get newer gen stuff into the store. But these guys, the stuff they get is in pristine condition, and they have a guy there that repairs it as brand new if something comes in messed up or defective, and that's always cool. That's great. Got a handful of games here that I paid for, and I don't regret my purchases because I remember I don't have all the games I used to have because all the games I had on PSP were about fucking 2 stacks high. And I used to have multiple memory cards until I had at least one point in my life, I had a modded memory card, a memory stick, that allowed it to hold all the fucking games, even digital ones, which I'm still waiting for my cousin to make me a new modded memory stick to put in the classics library. Because currently what I have, and at least for the time being, that keeps me busy, it's a 32 gigabyte Mark II, but these games are not even that big. I only took, what was it? Yeah, this is 32. I only used like 4 gigabytes for all these games I have right here. But I'm going to show you which games I got so you guys would be like, oh, that's it. Whether you played them or not, or remember them, or played them on their different, much more higher quality platforms. But still, to play these on the go, they were fantastic. They were games that held us over. And they were there for many nights at high school, many nights in middle school, And I want to start off with one of the most, I don't know if a lot of people played this one. You probably played it on the PS3, 360, and the PC, and the Wii more than anything. But I played it on the PSP and the PS2, and I even did play it on the PS3 at some point, because I did own it. That was WWE All-Stars. Now, WWE All-Stars was the game that, it's not realistic like the 2K games or any of the game like SmackDown versus Raw. It's none of that. This is like an N64 game for the modern point. Why? Because all these characters, how do I say this? They look like over the top cartoon characters. They look like they're more on steroids, if anything. I mean, I'm not trying to make a joke, but I mean the inside is also like the manual is still there. It came complete. The disc is in perfect condition. I can't really say nothing bad about it. It's fun. The graphics are not... The graphics are a more enhanced version of because this was at the 3DS. This came also on the 3DS. And I know the 3DS was a little bit better, but the thing is, on here, it looked better than the 3DS version. It was like taking the PS2 version, which did run really good, and the Wii version, and you put it on here. And it controls it still plays well, and it has every feature that the other games had, except for playing online, of course, or the only thing you could play was in ad hoc mode with with 2 people. But to play WWE in the go, I know they had SmackDown versus Raw on the PSP as well, which were also good ports of the game. But All-Stars is just one of those underrated. I wish they had a port, or they would just make another one, because more offshoot WWE games like this are really fun, especially way back when the offshoot games were incredibly fun. Now, this one, this was the light of my fucking PSP childhood. Just like Tenkaichi 3 was on my PS2, Tenkaichi Tag Team was the game. This is how you take Dragon Ball Z Tenkaichi and put it on the go. This is basically like a mini version of Tenkaichi 3, where Tenkaichi 3 had all its modes and features. This one just took what was important, and it took out some of the movies. It gave you more like a baseline version of Tenkaichi 3. But for what they do include and how they do it, this is something that they should go back to. The 2v2 on the field with 4 people, 2 against 2, or you could have 4, people fighting simultaneously, it's fun. I mean, it controls like you're playing the PS2 versions at the time. And like I said, look, I also like the clear casing for the game. I don't know why. I like the clear casing more than I like the white casing. You know, the manual intact. Oh, and a promo in the back, which, yes, I didn't hesitate to buy this one either when it came out, which was Raging Blast 2. God, I miss Raging Blast 2. But yeah, this Tenkaichi Tag Team, yes, I paid a pretty penny for it, but for the guy saying it's one of the last ones, because the store that I got, like I said, Bonfire Guys, they have a guy that does all the research, and apparently this is one of the last few copies in existence, and they had it, so I was like, fuck it. I'm taking it. You know, ain't nothing like it. This next game right here, I didn't think I was going to like it when it first came out, and then when it came out, a week after, two after, I eventually got it, and I fell in love with it. Dissidia Final Fantasy. Now, this one is a little bit more beat up. The case is a little bit more grimy, but it still looks cool. The only thing is that the disc pops off because it doesn't have the little piece, so I always have to lay this case flat. And it still has the, I don't need the pre-registration code. Let me put that shit in the drawer. It's got, you know, I could flip it inside out. As a matter of fact, since this side of the case looks kind of dirty, I'm going to just flip it to the darker side, which actually, for some reason, not only did it look better, it removes all these blotch problems that the fucking front had. There we go. See, I liked when cases would do that. They had an ulterior cover for the good guys and the bad guys. And yes, I switched it to the dark side, because why not? But Dissidia Final Fantasy, NT sucked. The other Final Fantasy and Dissidia game on PSP, that one was pretty good too, but a lot of people prefer that original one more. It was the first Final Fantasy fighting game, at least, and it does a pretty good job. It was fun to play on the go. Lord knows I played that on the bus. Now this game that I'm about to pull up, I love the series. I wish it would come back, or just give us an HD remaster of the whole trilogy with the online turned on, or give us a fourth or a remake of the first game properly, like all these other remakes are doing. But this one I picked up during one time when I had a vacation when I was 14, 15 years old, and I was in New York City vacationing with my mom. We found this in the store. I had my PSP at the time, and I needed something to play. But, I mean, this isn't the original cover at the time. But this game I bought it when I was a kid. This is from that game store, but I'm telling you the story that when I had got this as a kid. Resistance meets Gears of War. What can I say more? This is a good representation of the Resistance series on this PSP. And it looked good, it sounded good. The only thing it doesn't have is the manual. And the case, this is the English version, obviously, but the case I have, it says it's English in the front. You know, it says Resistance Retribution. But in the back, call me crazy, but the back is in Russian. Yeah, I got the Russian version. But by default, it's the American version just with Russian subtitles. You could turn it off. All the options are in English. It's still the same game, basically. It's just the case is a little different. I don't like the only thing is I don't like the one. It just seems with all the aliens on the front. I don't want it to spoil the game for people if they've played it at the time. The original case had the main cover on the front, and you see the destruction in the background. It left you more ambiguous to what could possibly happen in this game. I forgot what part of the story this takes place in. I think this takes place around the time of part 2 or in between 2 and 3. I'm not sure, or 1 and 2. But Resistance Retribution, if you're a collector, that's a game to have. If you're someone that's never played it and you can emulate, I recommend you doing it. It's a blast. It's a ball. You enjoy it. And the controls really well. Now, people are going to question why. Now, I don't agree with a lot of people saying that the first game was bad. Now, the second game was bad, and every other game after that is terrible. But the first one, it's very underrated, especially with its customization and what it allows you to do. And it's open battlefield, let you just beat the shit out of people. It was a sandbox. And that's Iron Man. I played the PS2 and the PS3 version. The only thing this game has is, yes, it's fun to fly around as Iron Man and beat the shit out of bad guys. And this took the PS2 game and condensed it well enough. Of course, the graphics for this one, yes, they're not the best, but they're serviceable. They do its job. You understand what you're looking at, and you know the characters. But what I do say is, yes, it comes complete, and it's nice to have. Oh, wait. For available during the Incredible Hulk. Actually, that's funny. Hold up. Because that's a promo for the PSP version. Where's the, Oh, please, God, don't tell me my nephew took it back. Shit. Okay, I don't see it up there. I think my nephew did take it back. But yeah, I also have the Incredible Hulk. I let my nephew use the Incredible Hulk on his PS2. So, like the movie version as well. It has Robert Downey Jr. It has the cast in it, you know, so it's nice to go through. You're just going to basically go through this, and it's just afterwards it's going to sit up there. But to go through it once, to customize and unlock the different suits and just go back and beat the shit out of people, it does its job. Now, one of my favorite versions, and you guys know I speak of this game highly. It may not be the, you know, obviously the PC and the PS3 and the 360 version had the graphics, but what it lacked, those games lacked, was the replayability. Star Wars The Force Unleashed PSP. You not only have the PS2 and the Wii version, the story version of it, with all its collectibles, all the uncut content that was supposed to be in the games, that they were sold as DLC for the HD games, but the developers just said, put the whole thing in chronological story order here. Order 66 mode. Historical missions. Force duels. I mean, what more can you ask for? This game has massive amounts of replayability for this version. And this is the underground version that fans prefer to be the best version of the game. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Force Unleashed, this game, I would break night playing this version, unlocking everything. And guess what? I did it again when I got it back. And in fact, I did it in less time. I did it in 4 hours and unlocked everything again. It comes complete. It looks good. It's in great condition. It plays well, the way it should. Only in certain sections when you're using the roll over the powered force abilities that, yeah, it gets slowed down a little bit. But this is still one of the preferred versions for the fans to play because of all the stuff that's in it. Now, and this is the PAL version, which still runs, you know, it's in English by proxy. It's still the same game, except I think this is the Brazilian version, or the Brazilian PAL version, because of the language in the back. But Grand Theft Auto Vice City Stories. Liberty City Stories was great. Vice City Stories was fucking phenomenal. I think I like this one more than regular Vice City. And then this one and Liberty City Stories got ported to the PS2 at the time. I wish they would do that now, because this game has so many mechanics that were now introduced into GTA 5, such as business running, racketeering, all the stuff that you do in Part 5 that you got to pay for with all the, you know, shark cards and all that. You could just do it on here. And it's the prequel, obviously, to Vice City. You play, I think, if I remember correctly, Lance's brother. And you see Lance's brother die at the beginning of Vice City. So it's almost weird. It's like they gave all this game to one guy you just see for a few minutes that just gets gunned down. But yeah, in the PAL version case, I actually like this a little bit more than the old style cases. Why? Because it looks very PS1-ish. And, like, it's got the gray, you know, the black where it needs to be. Like right here. And it's got the little logo up in the corner. I know that all the PSP games have that, but I just like the mixing of the colors. Like, let me bring one of the games back out, for example. Like, let me see. Which one has a very similar thing I could make a comparison to? Alright, I'll use Tenkaichi Tag Team, for example. This is how all American PSP games looked. And, you know, they have the game. It's kind of like a PS2. It's like literally a little PS2 case. You know, they emulated the PS2 style of casing. But here, you see the gray. It looks very PS1-ish with PS2. Which is almost like the fine line that people... Because you can play PS1 games on the PSP. A lot of people didn't know that. If you got them on the storefront or you get them on the memory stick, you can play PS1 on here. So, that's about, at least so far, my handful. You know, from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games. I'm waiting for them to, because this store, they do one thing. They email you or they give you a call and leave you a text sometimes of games that they're also getting in. I'm waiting for Renegade Squadron and Elite Squadron, the Star Wars Battlefront PSP games. Renegade for my memories and fondness of that, and Elite Squadron because it's basically Battlefront 3 that no one ever got to, you know, it's the canceled Battlefront 3 put on a portable console. So, yeah, that's all I gotta say about my PSP games. You know, this and the PSP, I'm glad I got it. I play this more than I even play a 3DS or Switch or anything like that. I still play this one more than anything because it's just more fun, and the games were so memorable. You know, I wish they would revise the PSP or fix the mistakes they had with the Vita and actually make a because if Nintendo's still making handhelds, why can't these other companies do it? You know, don't let Nintendo dominate that market because we already know how shifty they are when it comes to handhelds. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. You know, I hope you guys enjoyed this little video on me showing the collection, showing you the games, showing you the system. If you had fond memories of the PSP, let me know below. You tell me what you think, and if I can get more games for it, I might talk about, you know, try to review those as well, because PSP games are so much easier to beat than being on PS2, Xbox, and things like that. It's like you could get through them a little quicker, and I could be able to talk about them more effectively. But anyway, that's all I gotta say. Look out this week for, I don't know if there's gonna be any streams or anything like that because I'm gonna be busy playing Hogwarts Legacy. But probably when I beat that game and New Game Plus it, I'll New Game Plus it on stream. I just want to enjoy it for myself. And then in my downtime, before bed, I always put time in and play my PSP. And I also play it on my way to work on the bus. So, I hope you guys have a good day. Be sure to like, subscribe, favorite. And I'll see you all in the next video. I hope you guys take care. See you later.